The empire of Orathion was always loud in the morning. Flying ships moved between shining towers, the golden streets glowed, and people rushed to work. But Lena Hart, a young male courier, liked the mornings the most. It was the only time the city felt quiet enough for her thoughts. Lena was simple. She had no powers, no rare bloodline, and no big dream. She only wanted a stable job, a peaceful life, and maybe enough money to fix her old apartment. Delivering mail was perfect for her, safe, easy, and quiet. Or at least it used to be. That morning, Lena walked through the Grand Dragon Plaza with a small brown delivery box in her hand. The air around her shimmered with heat, because the plaza was home to more than 50 dragons, giant, ancient creatures who served as protectors of the empire. People usually stayed far away from the dragons, but Lena had a delivery route that passed through them every day. She was not scared anymore. The dragons never attacked. They only rested, their metal-like scales shining like blue armor. Their eyes were sharp but calm. But today felt different. As Lena entered the plaza, her steps slowed. The air felt heavy. Heavier than usual, like the moment before a storm. The dragons were awake. All of them. Their golden eyes followed her as she moved forward. Lena felt a strange chill on her neck. Why are they staring at me? No, not just staring, watching. She tried to act normal, her boots echoing on the bright stone floor as she walked between the giant creatures. Her mail scanner beeped softly with each step, confirming every delivery location. She looked down, pretending nothing was wrong. But then she heard it. A deep rumble. One dragon lowered its head. Lena froze. Dragons never bowed. Never. They only bowed to the emperor himself. And that had not happened in hundreds of years. Before Lena could react, another dragon lowered its head, its wings folding neatly. Then another. And another. And another. One by one, like a wave rolling across the plaza, every dragon in the entire empire lowered its head as she passed. Gasps filled the air. People who were walking nearby stopped. Soldiers dropped their weapons. Even the sky patrols slowed their flying ships, shocked by the impossible scene below. Lena's heart raced. No, this must be a mistake, she whispered to herself. I'm just delivering mail. But the ground trembled as the largest dragon, an ancient beast with deep blue scales and golden horns, moved toward her. Its eyes glowed brighter than fire, staring straight into her soul. Lena wanted to run, but her legs refused to move. The dragon's voice echoed inside her mind, not spoken aloud, but clear and powerful. We kneel for the returned one. Returned one? Lena's breath caught. I think you made a mistake, she whispered. I'm nobody. But the dragons disagreed. The largest dragon bowed even lower, its massive wings folding flat to the ground. Behind it, dozens of dragons repeated the gesture. The entire plaza shook with the weight of their bodies. People screamed, shouted, recorded videos, and called emergency lines. Sirens wailed in the distance as Empire guards rushed forward. This was not normal. This was not possible. This was something history had never seen. Lena stepped back, feeling thousands of eyes watching her. Fear twisted inside her chest. What returned one? She whispered. Why me? Who do you think I am? But before the dragon could answer, a sharp, cold voice cut through the plaza. Step away from the girl. Empire soldiers surrounded her in seconds, their armor glowing with symbols of power. They formed a tight circle, pushing her behind protective shields. Their captain pointed at the dragons with a trembling hand. Hold position. Do not let them approach. But the dragons did not attack. They simply stayed bowed. The captain turned to Lena, confusion on his face. What did you do? He asked. Nothing. Lena shouted. I swear I did nothing. Before she could explain more, a new sound filled the plaza. A deep hum, rising from the ground. The Dragon Plaza floor began to glow. Strange symbols appeared under Lena's boots, lighting up in a perfect circle around her. The soldiers stepped back, terrified. The dragons lifted their heads slightly, not in anger, but in recognition. The ancient dragon spoke again, its voice shaking the air. The seal awakens. The lost heir has returned. Lena felt the ground pull at her feet, like invisible chains rising from beneath the stone. Her breath grew shallow. Her vision blurred. Something inside her chest, Something she never knew existed, burned like a rising sun. I don't understand, she whispered. The ancient dragon bowed deeper. You will. And in that moment, with soldiers surrounding her, the plaza glowing, and every dragon kneeling, Lena realized her peaceful, simple life was over forever. The glowing circle beneath Lena's feet grew brighter, spreading warm light across the plaza. People backed away, afraid of what was happening. Even the soldiers who were trained to face danger felt unsure. They had never seen magic like this. No one had. Not even the oldest history books talked about glowing seals waking under a simple male courier. Lena's heart beat fast. Her hands shook as she looked down at the symbols under her. They moved slowly, turning like gears made of light. She took a small step back, but the symbols followed her like they were tied to her. What is this? She whispered. The ancient dragon shifted its massive head closer. Its glowing golden eyes softened, like it was trying to calm her. You do not feel it yet. The voice echoed in Lena's mind again. No. Lena said, her voice cracking. I don't feel anything. I'm just a normal girl. I deliver mail. The dragon let out a deep, rumbling growl. Not angry, but sad, almost gentle. You are not normal. You never were. Those words hit harder than anything. Soldiers tried to form a tighter wall around her. The captain's voice shook as he shouted. Protect the civilian. Keep the dragons back. But the dragons made no move to attack. They continued bowing, their huge bodies still and respectful. The captain kept glancing at Lena, trying to understand why the Empire's most powerful creatures were kneeling to a young courier with messy hair and a simple mailbag. A voice crackled through his communicator. Captain Rin. High Council demands immediate transport of the girl. She is to be brought to the Citadel at once. Lena heard it too. Wait, no, she cried. I didn't do anything. Why do they want me? Captain Rin looked torn. I don't know. But this is above us all. Before he could move her, the ancient dragon lifted its head again. She will not go with you. Every soldier froze. We cannot allow interference, the captain warned. Stand back. The ground vibrated as 50 dragons raised their wings, slowly, threateningly. Not to attack, but to show the soldiers they would not allow Lena to be taken by force. The ancient dragon spoke again. She must face the test of fire. Only then will the truth awaken. Lena blinked. Test of fire? No. No, I don't want any test. I want to go home. But the glowing circle around her pulsed again, stronger this time. The symbols stretched outward, forming a bright path that led straight toward the center of the plaza. A tall metallic structure rose from the floor, made of ancient metal and burning symbols. People gasped. The soldiers backed away. Lena stared in horror. What is that? The ancient dragon's voice thundered. The trial gate. Only the air can open it. Lena shook her head, tears building in her eyes. I'm not an heir. I'm a courier. I don't even have family left. A sudden silence filled the plaza. The ancient dragon blinked slowly. Because your true family was hidden. For your safety. Lena's knees weakened. Hidden? Her family? What did that mean? Captain Rin raised his hand. We must take her to the High Council. This is too dangerous. The dragons growled in unison, a sound so powerful the air itself shook. Lena lifted her hands. Stop. Please. Everyone stop. The glowing path brightened. A warm wave touched her feet. Lena gasped as a sudden heat ran through her veins, like fire waking inside her blood. She grabbed her chest, breathing hard. What is happening to me? The ancient dragon lowered its head again. The seal inside you is opening. But Lena didn't hear the rest. Everything turned bright, too bright. She squeezed her eyes shut. When the light faded, she stood in a completely different place. A silent world. A dream world. A world of fire and sky. The plaza was gone. The soldiers were gone. Even the dragons were shadows in the distance. She stood on a floating platform surrounded by endless burning clouds. Above her, a giant glowing eye opened in the sky, an eye made of light. Lena froze. What is this? Where am I? A deep, ancient voice, not the dragons, echoed across the burning sky. Child of the lost bloodline, you have been found. Lena stepped back, shaking. No. I don't want this. I didn't ask for this. The voice continued. To accept your power, you must prove your heart. This is the test of fire. Flames rose around her, forming 3 enormous shapes. Creatures made of pure fire, each with glowing red eyes. Lena's breath caught. These things were not dragons. They looked angry, hungry, alive. No, she whispered. Please, someone help me. But no one came. The voice said, pass the test, or be consumed. The fire beast stepped closer. Lena trembled, tears falling. She had never fought anything. She had never even punched a person. She was just a mail courier. But then, something inside her chest flickered. A pulse. A spark of heat. She lifted her hand without realizing it. A small flame appeared in her palm. She screamed in shock. The fire beast paused. The ancient voice spoke again. Good. The fire answers you. Lena stared at the flame shaking in her hand. She didn't want this power. She didn't want any of this. But right now, she had no choice. The fire beasts roared and charged toward her. Lena clenched her fist, stepped back and shouted, stay away. The flame exploded into a bright wave. The test had begun. Lena stood alone on the floating platform, fire swirling around her like a living storm. The 3 fire beasts moved in a circle, their molten bodies shifting and cracking, their glowing red eyes fixed on her. Every step they took shook the platform under her feet. Lena's heart pounded so hard she could hear it in her ears. She had no weapon, no armor, no training, only a tiny flame shaking in her trembling hand. This can't be real, she whispered. I'm dreaming. But the heat was real. The danger was real. And when one of the fire beasts lunged forward, its sharp claws cutting into the stone floor, that was real too. Lena jumped back, almost falling off the edge. Her scream echoed through the burning clouds. The beasts growled, glowing brighter, preparing to attack again. Lena stared at the small flame in her palm. It flickered weakly, as if unsure it wanted to stay alive. Please, please work, she whispered. The fire beast charged. Lena threw the tiny flame forward, but it disappeared the moment it left her hand, swallowed by the heat of the beasts. That's it. I'm dead, she breathed. The nearest beast raised its arm, a claw of burning stone ready to strike. But before it could, a sudden shock ran through Lena's body. Her skin glowed. The air bent around her. Her heartbeat matched the rhythm of the fire around her. The voice returned deep and ancient. The fire does not obey fear. It obeys will. Lena clenched her fists. Her fear didn't disappear. But something stronger rose inside her. Determination. No, Lena whispered, stepping forward instead of back. I won't die here. The fire beast roared and swung its claw. Lena raised her hand. And this time, a powerful blast of fire burst from her palm, like a burning wave. The beast flew back, crashing into the glowing clouds below. Lena stared at her own hand in shock. I did that. The other 2 beasts roared in anger and charged again. Lena felt the heat rising inside her chest, overflowing through her arms like liquid fire. The flames shot from her hands again, stronger, brighter. She spun to the side, dodging one beast, blasting the other. She didn't know how she was doing it. Her body just moved. Her fire followed her will. The beasts kept coming, but Lena was ready now. She rolled across the ground. She jumped over a wave of flame. She threw fire from both hands, each blast stronger than the last. Her fear became fuel. Her doubt became heat. And finally, with a scream full of fire and power, Lena unleashed one last burst. A blazing shockwave that shook the entire burning world. The beasts broke apart, their bodies turning into sparks of fire that vanished into the glowing air. Silence followed. A long, deep silence. Lena dropped to her knees, breathing hard, sweat running down her face. I passed, she said weakly. Is it over? The fire around her settled, turning soft and warm. The floating platform stopped shaking. Then the ancient voice spoke again. The test of fire is complete. You have awakened. Lena stood slowly. What did I awaken? A shape formed in the burning sky. A glowing silhouette of a tall person, made of fire and light. Lena stepped back. Who are you? The figure spoke. I am the first flame. The guardian of your bloodline. My bloodline? Lena gasped. I don't have one. My parents died when I was a baby. The first flame shook its glowing head. The people who raised you were not your true family. They hid you to protect you. For you are the last heir of the Ember Crown. Lena's breath caught. Embed. Crown, she repeated. That sounds like a storybook name. The first flame continued. Your ancestors once ruled both dragons and flames. They kept peace between sky and fire. But they were betrayed. Your bloodline was hunted. You were hidden. Lena stared at the burning clouds. She felt like the world was falling apart around her. All this time, I was just delivering mail, she whispered. Because you were trained to live unnoticed, the first flame said. Your power slept. Your identity slept. Until the dragons felt your return. Lena shook her head. No. I can't be some lost heir. I don't want a crown. I want my simple life back. The first flame's voice softened. You cannot return to who you were. But you can choose who you will become. The platform began glowing again. A portal of swirling fire opened behind the first flame. Return to the Empire. Your next trial awaits. Lena stepped close to the portal but hesitated. What if I fail the next one? The first flame's light brightened. You survived the fire. You will survive the future. Lena breathed shakily, wiped her tears, and stepped through the portal. The moment she returned to the Dragon Plaza, she collapsed to the ground. Soldiers rushed forward. People screamed. The dragons lifted their heads in awe. Fire still glowed faintly across Lena's skin. Captain Rin knelt beside her, eyes wide. What happened? He asked. Where did you go? Lena looked at her trembling hands. I think I just passed a test. The ancient dragon lowered its head again. The lost heir rises. And as the dragons bowed once more, Lena realized something terrifying. This was only the beginning. The Dragon Plaza was no longer loud with fear. It was silent, completely silent, as Lena stood in the middle, glowing faintly like fire was hiding under her skin. People who had been screaming minutes ago now stared at her with shock and confusion. Some backed away. Some bowed. Some simply froze, unsure whether she was a blessing or a danger. Lena didn't feel like either. She felt tired, shaken, overwhelmed. Soldiers surrounded her, but this time they kept more distance than before. Captain Rin stepped forward carefully, as if approaching something fragile and powerful at the same time. Are you hurt? He asked. Lena shook her head, though her hands were still shaking. No. I think I passed something. A test. The captain blinked. A test? The dragons mentioned something. But where did you go? I don't know, Lena whispered. It was like a world made of fire and sky. The ancient dragon moved closer, lowering its massive head until its golden eyes were level with hers. You faced the first flame, it said. You survived. This proves the truth. Lena swallowed hard. The truth about what? The dragon's voice echoed through the plaza. You are the last heir of the Ember Crown. The people gasped. Captain Rin's eyes widened. And Lena felt her heart drop into her stomach. No, I can't be, she said softly. I'm just a courier. The captain interrupted. The Ember Crown? That's a myth. A legend. A story parents tell their kids. The dragon growled softly, not angry but firm. Legends are born from truth. And this truth has returned. Lena shook her head. I don't want a crown. I don't want. She stopped speaking. The ground shook. Everyone turned. Flying ships were landing around the plaza, sleek, black ships marked with the symbol of the High Council. Soldiers far stronger and more armored poured out, forming tight lines and pointing weapons carefully at the dragons. Lena's stomach twisted. What now? A tall figure stepped out of the main ship. He wore silver robes and a metal mask, his posture sharp and cold. Everyone in the plaza bowed, except the dragons. Captain Rin whispered, That's High Counselor Varos. He rarely leaves the citadel. The counselor walked toward Lena slowly, the mask hiding his face. When he spoke, his voice echoed like a machine and a human at the same time. Lena Hart. Lena's breath caught. Ygres. You are coming with us, he said. Immediately. The dragons snarled, their wings twitching in warning. The ground trembled under their weight. Varos did not react. He simply raised one hand, and hundreds of soldiers stepped forward. Lena felt trapped again. I'm not going anywhere until someone explains what's happening. Lena said, her voice shaking but brave. Varos tilted his masked head. Very well. The explanation is simple. He took another step forward. Your existence threatens the Empire. Lena's blood ran cold. What? Varos folded his hands behind his back. The Ember Crown bloodline was erased for a reason. Their power was too dangerous. Too unpredictable. Too uncontrollable. Lena stumbled back. But I don't want power. I don't want to hurt anyone. That, Varos said, is exactly why you must come with us. For containment. The word felt like ice. Containment. Not protection. Not guidance. A cage. The dragons growled louder, stepping closer to Lena. The ancient dragon spoke. She will not be caged. Varos looked up at the creature without fear. You dragons forget your place. Your bond to the Empire is old and broken. You kneel to a myth. The ancient dragon's eyes flashed. We kneel to the true heir. Varos raised his hand sharply. Then you are all enemies of the state. Hundreds of soldiers aimed their weapons. The dragons opened their wings. Captain Rin whispered urgently to Lena, you need to run. Right now. Lena froze. Run where? She didn't even understand what she was running from. Varos pointed at Lena. Seize her. The soldiers charged. Dragons roared. The plaza exploded into chaos. Lena tried to move, but everything around her was too fast. Fire blasts shot from dragons. Energy shields crackled. Soldiers shouted. People screamed and ran. A dragon slammed into the ground beside Lena, shielding her from a volley of glowing bullets. Get on, it commanded. What? No, I can't ride a dragon. Lena cried. The dragon growled. You must err. Without thinking, Lena climbed onto its back, holding tightly to its metallic scales. The dragon leaped into the air just as a circle of soldiers closed in. Wind whipped through her hair as they rose high above the plaza. Below, dragons fought the soldiers fiercely, protecting her with everything they had. Lena looked down in horror. I never wanted this, she shouted over the wind. The dragon responded. Destiny does not wait for desire. Varos looked up at her from the plaza, his masked face reflecting the flames. He lifted a small device to his lips. Activate Project Ashfall. The city alarm screamed. Massive weapons on the rooftops began turning. Aimed directly at Lena. Lena felt her heart stop. What is Project Ashfall? She asked. The dragon's wings shuddered. A weapon meant to kill your bloodline. Lena felt sick. They built a weapon to kill me? To erase your family forever, the dragon answered. A bright red light lit the sky as the weapon charged. Lena screamed, and the dragon dove sharply to avoid the first blast. The Empire was no longer just confused. It wanted her dead. Wind hit Lena's face so hard she could barely breathe as the dragon carried her higher into the sky. But the danger below kept rising even faster. The giant rooftop weapons, massive metal cannons, glowed hotter and brighter, charging up again for another blast. Each cannon hummed like a storm ready to explode. The dragon twisted sharply left as a beam of red energy shot past them, missing by only inches. The air sizzled, trembling from the heat. Lena screamed and held tighter. I'm going to fall. You will not, the dragon said, its voice deep and steady. Hold on, air. Lena tried to breathe, but fear gripped her chest like a fist. Down below, the city was in full chaos. Dragons filled the sky, trying to protect her. Soldiers fired energy bolts back at them. People ran through the streets as alarms screamed from every tower. The Empire was collapsing into war. Because of her. Lena shook her head, her voice cracking. I didn't want this. I didn't want to be some heir. Yet you are, the dragon replied. A second blast shot toward them. The dragon spun in a tight circle, too tight for Lena's comfort, and the shot missed again, slicing through a floating billboard instead. The billboard exploded into white sparks. One thing was clear. The Empire wasn't trying to capture Lyra anymore. They were trying to kill her. 3 more cannons locked onto her position. The dragon cursed in its ancient, rumbling language. Lyra's voice trembled. What do we do? We can't outrun them. We do not outrun them, the dragon growled. We break them. Lyra blinked. Break the cannons? The dragon's wings folded in tight. Before Lyra could argue, it dove straight down toward the city. Wind rushed past them like a screaming hurricane as they dropped toward the rooftop where the main cannon was charging. Lyra felt her stomach rise into her throat. The city streets blurred beneath them. No, too fast, she shouted. The dragon didn't slow. Ready yourself. I'm not ready. The cannon fired. The dragon rolled sideways, dodging at the last second, and the blast shot into the sky instead. Then, boom! The dragon slammed into the cannon like a living meteor, crushing its upper plates and snapping its long barrel. The cannon sparked, shook, and collapsed in on itself. Smoke filled the roof. Lyra coughed, eyes tearing up. You destroyed it. 1, the dragon said. More remain. Before Lyra could respond, soldiers poured onto the rooftop from stairways and lifts. They raised rifles glowing with blue energy. There. Target is on the dragon. Fire. Lyra panicked. No. The dragon roared. A wall of blue fire burst from its mouth, melting the soldiers' weapons instantly. They screamed and fell back, dropping their equipment. The dragon turned its head. Hold tight. It leaped off the roof just as reinforcements arrived, swinging back toward the sky. Lyra pressed her forehead into the dragon's scaled neck, shaking. I'm going to die. I'm going to die today. Not while dragons still fly, the dragon answered. But the danger was far from over. The other cannons finished charging. The sky filled with red lights as the weapons targeted Lyra again. Each cannon hummed like it was gathering enough power to tear through mountains. Lyra's chest tightened. Why are they doing this to me? She cried. The dragon's wings beat hard, pushing them higher. Because they fear what you are, it said. The Ember Crown once ruled dragons. If you rise, their control ends. Lyra felt sick. So they want me gone. Forever. A cannon fired again. The sky exploded with red energy. The dragon swerved, but this time the blast hit its wing. Crack. The dragon roared in pain. Lyra screamed as they began to fall sideways, losing altitude fast. No. Stay in the air. Lyra begged. I will try, the dragon groaned. Smoke trailed from its injured wing. The dragon flapped harder, but the damaged wing shook uncontrollably. The ground grew closer. Lyra's heart hammered. We're going to crash. Hold. The dragon forced its wings open again, slowing their fall just enough to land roughly on a tall, broken tower. The dragon collapsed to one knee, its injured wing trembling. Lyra slid off its back, stumbling on the uneven stone. Are you okay? She asked, panic filling her voice. The dragon lowered its head. I will live, but I cannot fly far. Lyra looked around. They were dangerously exposed. Soldiers were already heading toward the tower. We need to hide, she whispered. Before the dragon could answer, a sudden explosion hit the tower below them. The structure shook violently. Lyra fell to her knees as the world tilted. Soldiers were climbing the sides using jetpacks, aiming their weapons up toward her. Target located. Prepare stun rounds. Lyra's breath caught. No. The dragon stepped in front of her, using its body as a shield. Run air. No. Lyra shouted. I won't leave you. The dragon's voice was weak but firm. You must survive. For all of us. A soldier aimed directly at Lyra. She screamed. And the fire inside her chest ignited again. The air around her glowed orange. Her eyes burned like embers. A wave of heat erupted from her body. Not just a blast. A shield. The stun rounds melted mid-air, before they could reach her. Soldiers panicked. Retreat. Retreat. The heat surrounding Lyra grew brighter, forming a burning aura around her. The dragon stared in awe. Your power awakens. Lyra's breathing slowed as she tried to control the fire flowing through her. I'm not letting them hurt you, she whispered. But then, a metal shadow rose behind her. A new weapon. Bigger than the cannons. A flying war machine shaped like a giant black hawk. Captain Varos' voice echoed from it. Lena Hart, the Empire orders your execution. Lena gasped. The machine aimed its glowing core at her. The dragon roared. And the weapon fired. The Dragon Emperor had ruled the Empire for more than 1,000 years. He was feared, respected, and obeyed by every creature, dragon, human, or spirit. His throne room was a place where even generals spoke with trembling voices. His shadow alone could silence the entire kingdom. But that evening, as the sun dipped behind the mountains, the Emperor felt something he had not felt in centuries: fear. He stood on the highest tower of the palace, staring into the distance where a faint golden glow rose into the sky. It was gentle, warm, almost peaceful, yet powerful enough to shake the entire empire. He whispered to himself, "She has awakened the bond. The true bond." The royal advisor beside him stepped back in shock. "Your Majesty, if that is true, then we cannot control her. No one can." The Emperor's claws tightened around the stone railing. His wings twitched with unease. "She was just a mail carrier," the Emperor growled. "A simple girl who delivers letters. How did she become the center of every dragon's loyalty?" The advisor swallowed hard. "Because the bond chooses the heart, not the blood." The Emperor didn't respond. He simply stared at the golden light growing brighter in the sky. Meanwhile, Lyra arrives at the palace. Lyra walked through the palace gates slowly, with Ember and the other dragons forming a massive protective circle around her. Thousands of dragons filled the sky and ground, kneeling, bowing, or watching silently. No one attacked her. No one even breathed too loudly. It was like the entire empire held its breath. Lyra's heart hammered in her chest. "I'm just here to return a package," she whispered nervously. Ember almost laughed. "Lyra, you are no longer just anything." As they approached the grand stairway of the palace, the heavy doors opened. A long hallway of gold, crystal, and ancient carvings stretched before them. At the far end stood the Emperor, tall, fearsome, with dark red scales and eyes that glowed like burning suns. Lyra froze. "I don't know what to say to him." "Speak truth," Ember said. "Your heart has guided every dragon you've met. It will guide you again." Lyra nodded and stepped forward. The moment Lyra entered the throne room, the Emperor felt a blast of pressure, soft yet overwhelming. It wasn't violent or aggressive. Instead, it was warm, peaceful, and pure. The type of power that did not seek to dominate, but the type that others chose to follow. The Emperor's wings lowered involuntarily. He whispered, "Impossible, that is the bond of kings." Every dragon trembled. Lyra didn't notice any of this. She stood nervously at the center of the room, clutching the mail bag to her chest. Hi," she said quietly. "I have a delivery for you." The Emperor blinked. He, the ruler of all dragons, had never been greeted with such simple, innocent words. "What delivery?" he asked slowly. Lyra opened her bag and pulled out a small sealed envelope. "It says it's from someone named Aurelia. She told me it must reach you today." The Emperor's eyes widened. "Aurelia," he breathed. "She is the one who created the ancient prophecy." Ember whispered in shock. "The first dragon queen." The Emperor took the envelope with trembling claws. He had never trembled before. Not in war, not in storms, not in the face of powerful enemies. But now his hands shook. He broke the seal. Inside was a short message, written in glowing silver ink. "The one you kneel for has arrived." The Emperor froze completely. The throne room erupted in whispers. Dragons gasped. Ember bowed deeply. Lyra just blinked, confused. Is something wrong with the message? The Emperor stepped down from the throne. His enormous shadow covered Lyra. His voice dropped to a near whisper. "Child, do you know what this means?" Lyra shook her head. "No. It means you are the true bondholder. The one who can command every dragon in existence. The one my ancestors wrote about. The one we must protect and obey." Lyra's mouth fell open. "Obey? Me? But I'm just..." The Emperor cut her off. "You are chosen. Even your fear cannot hide it." Then, something no one expected happened. The Emperor, mighty, ancient, feared across the realm, lowered his massive head, and kneeled before her. The entire palace shook as thousands of dragons outside kneeled too. Lyra felt dizzy. Please stand. Please. I don't want anyone kneeling to me. But the emperor spoke firmly. We do not kneel out of fear. We kneel because your heart commands loyalty. He looked up at her gently. And because the future of the empire now rests with you. A sudden threat appears. Before Lyra could respond, a loud explosion echoed from outside. The palace windows cracked. Dragons roared in alarm. A dark cloud rose into the sky. Embed hissed. That energy, it's not from our world. The emperor's eyes flashed with horror. It's the Void Serpents. They should have been sealed forever. Lyra stumbled back. Void what? The emperor spread his wings. They are creatures that even dragons fear. And something has awakened them. He turned to Lyra. Child, your test begins now. The sky tore open like a black wound. A swirling storm of dark purple clouds formed above the palace, flashing with strange lightning. The ground vibrated as a deep, otherworldly sound echoed across the dragon empire. Like metal grinding against stone, mixed with the scream of something ancient and hungry. Lyra felt her knees weaken. What is that? She whispered. Ember's wings snapped open. The Void Serpents, creatures from the dark realms between worlds. The emperor growled, flames rising between his teeth. They consume life. They devour magic. And they have returned after 1,000 years. Every dragon in the sky roared in fear and readiness. But the dark cloud only grew as a massive black serpent burst out of the storm. Its body long like a shadow, its eyes glowing bright silver. It was larger than the palace itself, moving with silent, terrifying speed. It dove straight toward the courtyard. Lyra screamed as shockwaves tore the ground apart. Dragons scattered, breathing fire, lightning, and wind. But the attacks passed right through the creature like it was smoke. They cannot be hurt by normal attacks, the emperor shouted. The serpent opened its jaws, revealing a swirling void inside. Like a black hole ready to swallow the world. Lyra stared in horror. We can't fight that. But Ember looked at her, voice steady. Lyra, only the bond holder can. What? Me? How? Your heart connects all dragons. You can channel their strength. Lyra's heart pounded. I don't know how to do that. You don't need to know, Ember said softly. Just trust them. The bond awakens fully. The Void Serpent roared and shot toward the palace balcony. Dragons rushed to block it, but their attacks faded again. The Emperor stepped forward to shield Lyra, his wings raised like walls of flame. But Lyra grabbed his arm. No, she said. Let me try. Her voice trembled, but her eyes were determined. She stepped forward, facing the sky filled with danger and darkness. Every dragon turned to her. Lyra raised her hand. At first nothing happened. Then, a warm golden light burst from her chest, spreading like a wave. It washed over every dragon. Ember, the emperor, the guards, the soldiers, the younglings. Their scales glowed, their eyes brightened, their power intensified. The bond pulsed. 1,000 heartbeats aligned with hers. Lyra felt all their courage, all their fire, all their strength flow into her. It was overwhelming but beautiful. She whispered, I'm not alone. The sky shook. The first victory. The Void Serpent lunged again. Lyra lifted her glowing hand, and a beam of golden light burst upward, carrying the power of every dragon in the empire. It struck the serpent, forcing it backward. For the first time, the creature screamed, not in hunger but in pain. The dragons watched in awe. Ember gasped. She's pushing it back. The emperor yelled, hold strong. Channel your fire into her. One by one, dragons released their power into the bond. Fire, lightning, ice, wind, every elemental breath. The energy merged with Lyra's golden light, until the whole sky burned bright like a new sun. The Void Serpent twisted violently, shrinking, folding in on itself, and finally, with a sound like shattering glass, it exploded into dust. The dark clouds trembled. But then, 3 more serpents burst out. Lyra stumbled. I don't think I can fight all of them. The Emperor landed beside her. You don't have to. We will fight with you. He kneeled again, not in fear, but in unity. Ember kneeled next. Then every single dragon in sight lowered their heads. Lyra felt tears in her eyes. The final battle. The serpents charged together, spiraling like storm winds. Their attacks shook the mountains. Pieces of palace towers crumbled. Lightning struck the ground as dragons roared in formation. Lyra inhaled deeply, lifted both hands, and let the bond guide her. She didn't think. She didn't plan. She simply trusted. Golden light exploded outward, forming a massive shield around the empire. The serpents slammed into it, screaming, shaking the barriers with pure darkness. More power. Ember Creed. The dragons gave everything. Firestorms twisted in the sky. Shockwaves shook the world. The shield thickened, glowing brighter and brighter until the serpents began to burn under the light. But the largest serpent forced its head through the shield, jaws opening wide. Lyra pushed harder, every muscle shaking. No, stay back. The bond shined so bright that even the clouds split apart. A final burst of light shot from Lyra's hands, piercing straight into the serpent's core. The entire sky erupted in a blinding explosion. The three serpents shattered, dissolving into a rain of dark dust. Silence followed. Slowly, the darkness faded. The sun rose again over the dragon empire. A new beginning. Lyra collapsed to her knees, exhausted but alive. Ember caught her gently with his wing. You did it, he whispered. You saved us all. Dragons landed all around, their expressions filled with respect and wonder. The emperor stepped forward and bowed his massive head again. Lyra, he said, voice quiet for the first time in centuries. You are no longer a simple mail carrier. You are the heart of dragons, the one we will follow for all time. Lyra blushed deeply. Well, I still have mail to deliver. Every dragon laughed, loud rumbling, warm laughter that echoed across the mountains. The emperor smiled. Then we shall guard the greatest mail carrier in the universe. Ember nudged her. Our adventures are only beginning. Lyra looked at the sunrise. I guess I'm part of this world now. She didn't feel small anymore. She didn't feel ordinary. She felt connected to every dragon, every heartbeat, every flame in the sky. She was Lyra, the girl who walked with dragons, the girl they kneeled for, the girl who saved an empire. And her story had only just begun.